Oh, man. What's going on, sir?
Good evening.
And we're here on DIY Mississippi Film Wars. We got the King of Memes here, Mr. James. And what we're going to do our top 5 matches we saw live this year with a couple honorable mentions, huh?
Yes.
All right, so what's your first honorable mention?
Well, let me go ahead and start with a little bit just background. Everybody know me. People don't know who I am.
That's right, it's true. First on the channel.
We have, first of all, thanks for having me.
No problem,
We've been
man.
talking about this for a while.
Yeah.
No, I'm an old MidSouth guy.
Same here.
Started off early mid-'80s, Junkyard Dog, Rock and Roll Express.
Ted DiBiase.
DiBiase, all those guys. Got to see them live. That's kind of what got my interest in wrestling.
Right.
And then I was an Attitude Era guy.
Yep.
I like the Attitude Era. Don't follow it as much anymore as far as big time wrestling.
No.
But I do the scene. But that being said, starting this year, my first honorable mention was actually the match we went with Cole and Walker Hayes.
Dude, that was a good match.
I honorable mention it because of the botched table.
And that was Raleigh, Mississippi, right?
Battle Zone. It was in Battle Zone in Raleigh, and what I found interesting was saying, okay, I knew the table didn't break like it was supposed to.
Right.
So for me, it was a curiosity thing. How are they going to overcome this? What are they going to do to keep the match going and keep most of the fans thinking, hey, it was supposed to happen.
Exactly.
So that was an honorable mention, just how they continued the match and how they, kept going.
And that was close to making my list. And the best thing is, Lad told me afterwards, him and Walker, the first time the table didn't break, they literally go, Botchamania. And it made Botchamania.
Botchamania, yes.
So let me see. You got my cheat sheet there, sir.
I'm having a bounce. Bear with us here.
Not a problem. We're high tech here.
We're high tech. High tech radio.
Okay. My honorable mention, this is another Battle Zone show. This is in Columbia. And you were at this event. This is Vordell versus Vladimir Koloff. Vordell Walker versus Vladimir Koloff for the Brass Knuckle Championship. And this match, man, this thing spilled out into the crowd. My coat got taken out when Vlad got thrown into. We had to get Dad out of the way. U-Haul get out of the way. You were doing security, even though you weren't security. So you're helping out doing security. It went all over outside, went up the stairs, went onto a car, around the flagpole, back inside. Dad had to move again. They're like heat seeking missile on him. But man, this match, and this was your first time seeing Vlad? No, your first time was seeing him with Walker Hayes.
Walker Hayes. This was second.
Okay, so second time. So really good match and almost made the list. Almost. So what's your other honorable mention, sir?
My honorable mention was the match with Rob Love and Caleb with a K versus Vordell and Apoc.
Oh, matches, yes. Yeah. Such a good show.
It was a good match, but it was my first time seeing Caleb live, and what impressed me was how he handled himself professionally, how his ring presence, and it wasn't so much the match as it was how him and Vordell matched up well together. Yes, that's we already know what the ring record can do. I followed Vordell, known him
over a decade.
Over a decade. But my first time seeing Caleb, but watching how they worked together was very impressive to me.
And the thing with Caleb is that I'd say maybe 10% of that crowd knew who he was.
A lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
I remember his merch table. There was nobody there.
Yeah.
I'm like, down here, a lot of these people, they're, if you're not on TV.
Yeah. And they don't watch Impact. And that's where he's been on TV.
Yeah. Beyond WWE, it's pretty much, they don't have a clue.
AEW a little bit. They're getting to AEW a little bit finally.
And not put them down, they just don't.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't have, may not have cable or nothing like that. It just.
Well, we live in a rural area, and a lot of places don't have access to high-speed internet yet. Matter of fact, this man right here's got the fastest internet you can get, and I got like the little slow stuff at the house, and I'm right down the road.
Right.
5 miles down the road?
5 miles down the road.
All right, we'll pull up you got mine ready, sir? All right, let's see here. This is my other
getting the hang of this, by the way.
Yeah. Now, this one, I got a feeling made your actual list. This is Battle Zone, Riley. This is back in July, wasn't it?
I think, yes.
All right. Marvelous Monty Warbucks and Calvin Rose taking on Rock and Roll Express. In this match, man, I'm not going to talk too much about it because I figure it's on your list to let you do it, but I grew up watching the Rock and Roll Express, and I was a Midnight Express fan. I like the Rock and Rolls, but I was a Midnight Express. I'm a heel fan. But man, this match, and Monty and Calvin, you both knew they grew up watching these guys and respected these guys, and they went out there and put on a match that was not the best technical match, but it was the most entertaining match on the entire show. Probably the most entertaining match I've seen in a Battle Zone show. All right, sir, you're number 5.
And you're killing me because you've actually mentioned 2 shows that are on, or 2 matches.
Oh, man. Well, we went to, a lot of times we ride to the shows together, so
yeah. Now, my number 5 was the one you mentioned, your honorable mention, Vladimir Koloff and Vordell Walker, the Brass Knucks. Because it was all over the place. And to watch, I mean, it was, you were here, you were there. It goes outside, it goes upstairs, it comes back downstairs, it goes across the chairs in the lobby. It was everywhere. I was waiting for him to go in the bathroom. Yes, because you got we know what Vordell could do.
Yeah.
I knew what Vlad was capable of.
Yep.
So to watch them two work together like that and everything was just really.
And if I remember right, didn't both of us buy a Vladimir Klitschko shirt at that show?
We had our yes, we got our shirts with us.
Yes. I actually put mine on.
And I felt kind of torn because I like Vlad, but I'm a huge Vordell fan. You know, always have been.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a match I could just sit back and enjoy.
Exactly.
It wasn't one or the other. It's just the way they both went after it was just very.
And if you want to see that one, that is up on this channel. Just go back a little bit. It's on here. All right. Let's see here. My number 5. Oh, this is one I know you were at. This match, man. This is the only Pro Wrestling Ego event I got to go to this year. I think it's the only one they held this year. This is the Great Southern 8, which first time going. I know it's your first time going. Been wanting to go for years. This was Vladimir Koloff taking on Alexander Gold from Arkansas. Main event. These guys have both done 2 matches, and they just beat the living hell out of each other. And Vladimir, if y'all have never seen this guy, he's a big guy, but he's not like, a cardio guy. You can tell he got a little extra weight on him. He's losing it, but Alexander Gold and him, they just went all out. And them kicks, man.
Oh, man.
Them kicks.
That almost made my honorable mention. I had it on my list because his Alexander Gold's kicks were just, it hurt to watch.
Oh, yeah.
He was very good with his kicks.
Dude,
legs, thighs, everything. Just
that whole match. And Vlad won.
And they both already had fought earlier.
Yeah.
So this was like, and they still brought it.
Yeah. You think they'd be sucking wind or something because they already done 2 matches. You think they'd be sucking wind so much they'd have to sell us hot dogs at the concession stand, but, it happens.
It happens.
There you go, sir. Your number 4, I think, is what we're on now.
All right, my number 4. Actually, it was here recent at BIW in Brookhaven. It was Danny Chance versus Barrett Brown versus Ho Ho Loon. And first time seeing Ho Ho, he's from Hong Kong.
Yep.
What impressed me about the match was how it changed. With Barrett recently going to New Japan.
Yep.
And with Ho Ho having that Hong Kong Japanese kind of style. And then we had Danny in the match, which Danny's more of your
Lucha modern indie, yeah.
Kind of a mix there. But Danny was actually out of the match at the moment. But to watch how it changed and Barrett and Ho Ho kind of brought the Japan style to the match for a minute, and the way those two worked together was, and then when Danny got back in, how it switched, but the way they were changing the different styles just impressed me. And like I said, Ho Ho, I wasn't sure how to take him. The crowd didn't know him. But he really impressed me, not only in the ring, but before and after the show.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely a humble, very respectful.
Another thing I want to throw out there was this had a great story too, because before the match started, Frankie Thomas comes out going, "Where's my rematch, Danny?" He won the belt and gave him a rematch. And then after the match was over, you got Barrett turning heel, Frankie beating Danny down, then Frankie's wife coming out with her bag of who knows what's in that bag and putting makeup on Danny.
A lot of hairspray.
Oh, God. And it's funky smelling hairspray, man. Does she get like fart smelling hairspray or something,
Probably borrowed something from Sonny or something.
Jesus. Sonny. She pooed it. All right. Number 4. This one I know you saw. Vordell Walker versus Damian Wayne, Brookhaven BIW.
Yes.
I've been wanting to see Damian Wayne live for almost 20 years now. And this was a perfect blend of like a Southern style indie match with a little comedy, a little high flying. They knew how to work the crowd. They reacted to the crowd, and these two guys. Damian told me before the show they probably faced each other 100 times.
Yeah.
But it's the first time they faced each other in Mississippi.
Wow.
And Damian's 50 years old.
Yeah.
And he had the cardio that you just would not believe.
He's a very physical looking specimen.
Oh yeah.
And again, we've talked about Vordell and what he brings. And that one, there's been so many great matches. Like I almost had that one up there too. The way they work together and the match, like he mentioned, it was comedy. It was physical. It was just a mixture.
It was a match that wouldn't have been out of place on like the main event of a MidSouth show or Continental show or Memphis show from like the early 80s.
Yes.
We could have been watching right after Ted DiBiase defends the North American title. This could have went on. The crowd would have loved it then, just like they loved it now.
Yes.
There you go, sir.
All right.
You're number 4? I think we're on number 4.
I'm on number 3.
You're on number 3. I went to public school, so I don't count real good, y'all.
And you mentioned it a while ago when we was talking about my previous match was the Danny Chance versus Frankie Thomas when Danny wins the belt. And a lot of people may not know this, but knowing everything that led up to that for Danny.
Yeah. That was a very special moment for that man.
Danny had recently lost his father.
Mm-hmm.
And it meant a lot to Danny to win that. His family came with him. So beyond the match, to see the raw emotion and the way he was in the center of that ring, tearing up and holding that belt up, just...
He dropped to his knees and just held it up and looked up to the sky.
Yeah, again, if you notice, most of my matches here I'm talking about may not be the best match or the toughest match. It's
Did you get that emotional connection?
The emotional connections with things, and of course, here's Frankie wanting it back, and understandably so. It's a great match. But
Frankie was a great champion.
Oh yes. But to go back to that moment and just watching Danny and enjoy it with his family.
Remember the little kid trying to help Danny when Danny was laid down outside the ring?
I do, because I felt so bad having to, try to get him to ease back because security, you want him back. But I told him, I said, just cheer for him, buddy. But yeah, that little kid, and he wasn't trying to hurt Danny.
No, he was like, get up, Danny, come on.
So that was a great moment too.
That was. All right. So I'm on number 3 now. Oh. What did I do? Okay, there we go. Number 3, this is speaking of my number 3, guess what it is?
The same match.
The exact same match. So, and Danny, I want to point this out because this is getting known now. Danny travels 14 hours one way to wrestle in Brookhaven. Him and his wife travel 14 hours.
A lot of times he gets there 30 minutes before the show even starts.
Oh, yeah. And matter of fact, one show he got there 15 minutes before the doors open, sat his bag down, came and did an interview with me, then ran back to the locker room from the doors open.
Yes.
And 2 of the nicest people you ever want to meet.
Oh, yes, indeed.
2 of the nicest people. So we're going
to after the match, they head right back.
I mean, unless ring crew needs help. I've seen him do ring crew before.
Right.
All right. Your number 2, sir? Because I know my number 2, you didn't see that. You weren't at that show. I'm sorry. I got a little nose drippage right now.
My number 2 was one that you and I have talked about a lot, and I'm sure a lot of people talked about it.
Oh.
Yeah, the Apoc versus Steve Anthony match.
The Southern Heavyweight title. The end of the feud. Title.
Right. I mean, they had a lot of feud leading up to that, but that night, there was so much that went on with Steve allegedly, being injured in the ring. I'll say allegedly.
I'll talk about it more when we get to it.
The match went everywhere.
Yeah.
It ended up in the bathroom. Steve got a swirly from Apoc.
Yep.
And then Apoc being basically a transplanted Brookhavenite, basically. I mean, he's, we looked some old footage earlier I had. He's been wrestling in Brookhaven longer than
he calls it his second home.
Second home. And it was good to see him win. It was the crowd loved it.
That eruption for the crowd, man. My footage, you can see the footage actually shaking from the noise.
Yeah, that pop was great. All right, but I'm going to save some of that for you to talk, because I know.
Yeah. All right, my number 2, and I wish you could have made this show, man. This is BIW Natchez Khan. Ring of Honor 6-man tag champion with Shane Taylor and Moses and O'Shea Edwards, who used to wrestle in Jackson all the time, taking on Caleb with a K.
I wanted to see that. Had some family things going on. I had other obligations.
Understandable.
I had to, but
well, you know what? It worked out good because I rode in quarters.
Mm-hmm.
It was great show. And man, this was Ring of Honor versus Impact, like right before Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor is pretty much dead. We know this. And this is right before Caleb ended up taking on Minoru Suzuki on Impact. Wow. This match, man, they just beat the living hell out of each other. And you didn't see this because you weren't there, but these ladies, because you know where it is in Natchez, they're having the Hot Balloon Festival that day. These ladies just walked in, saw Khan, and like, ooh, 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 and like everyone was in a picture with him. They're getting they were checking him out, and man, great match. Amazing match. It will be up, folks. I have that footage. It's just we're having to sit on it for a little bit. All right, sir, you're number 1.
My number 1, and again, I go back to what I talked about at the beginning, being an old Mid-South guy, being an old Rock and Roll Express guy.
Yep.
I mean, those guys I idolized.
I'm sure there's pictures of this man dressed up as a Rock and Roll Express when he's a little kid with the bandanas on your knees.
I wrestled my older brother. I had the bandanas and everything.
Now, did he job when you wrestled him?
No, not really. It was just,
I
always won.
Okay.
He'd get ahead, but I always seemed to pull the finisher off and win. Typical Rock and Roll Express style.
That's all right.
But yeah, I got to meet those guys and get their autographs when I was probably 8 years old, 9 years old, and that developed initially my love. So for me, the number 1 was whenever they faced Leading Edge.
That match. We just got through watching it. Your footage from it. Oh man.
And the thing was, was it physical? No, of course not. But again, my thing was, I knew the old what I saw as a kid. Yep. I knew they weren't going to be able to bring that. They did so good. They did so good. They're in their mid to late 60s now. So
they might be pushing 70, man.
I think Ricky just turned 67.
I'll say they're getting up there. Yeah, and Robert ain't young.
Robert's not young, but I was interested to see how are they going to work the crowd. How are they going to do this? And there was a lot of more talking and carrying on, but it was very entertaining talking. I mean, And the way Monty come out there and set it up was,
Yes.
was great. You know, he's like, y'all get a chance to see wrestling legends, and and he's talking about him and Calvin. But it got the crowd in, and just the way it all just flowed.
They had that crowd wanting to kill them. And the thing about it was, man, I was watching this man here the entire match. He had the biggest smile you ever seen on his face.
I was a kid again.
I was like, you were 5 years old again, sitting on the couch watching it on your TV with the 2 dials on it. No, was MidSouth a UHF or a VHF channel?
We would get it sometimes. It was VHF out of Alexandria, Channel 5. You had to turn the antenna just right and hope the wind blew just right.
Right.
Get it. But I was able to go a lot to Laronja, Louisiana, which is east of Independence. That's where
And didn't you mention that to Ricky and Robert? You'd seen them there?
I did, that I'd seen them there. And Ricky was like, wow, it's been a long time since I've seen that player, heard about that place.
Oh, yeah.
He got a small town.
He got a great picture with him, too.
Oh, yeah. We got a great picture at Rock. And that was my thing when I started into, helping more with wrestling and getting involved. I said, I want to meet these guys.
Right.
I knew people that knew them or knew of them. I said, that's a great chance to get in and maybe meet these guys. And I was able to do so.
Yeah, because we've heard some great stories about Ricky involved in New Orleans and a certain store.
Yes. We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
But
because we got kids around.
Even the finisher, what was amazing was how they did a finishing move. And then I was watching old MidSouth footage the other night, and here it was in the early 80s, and they used that same finishing move. Yeah. I was like, whoa, wait, I recognize that. So,
that shows you the good wrestling is timeless.
Yes.
Now, my number one, he mentioned already, this would be Steve Anthony, the BIW Southern Heavyweight Champion. Finally, this was going to be a no DQ. If Steve won, Apoc had to retire from BIW. If Apoc won, Steve had to get his head shaved. This feud's been building up for what? About 2 years, maybe 3
years, yes.
And man, Steve, what he did, I'm going to go into detail for a second. You can see this all on the channel here. It's up there. And you also go to Body Slam Media Productions. They got a professionally edited version with commentary. Mine's just, fan cam footage. Apoc had Steve in headlock kind of. And all of a sudden, Steve just drops to the mat. And I'm like, uh-oh. And ref checks on him. They call for Vordell and Cassidy to come out of the background because Vordell is a firefighter. Cassidy Riley's a nurse to check on Steve because Steve ain't moving.
Well, he starts. Even the referee threw the X.
Yeah, DJ threw up the X.
Yeah, threw up the X.
And then Steve starts doing convulsions. And I'm like, oh, crap. Now, every other camera got cut off when that happened. I kept mine going. I was like, okay, if this is actually something bad, I'll just won't put the footage up. Well, all of a sudden, Steve pops up and does a drop kick underneath the bottle rope into Apoc, and they start brawling around the arena. They're over there fighting out of stage, and Steve looks at my camera and goes, I should win an Academy Award for that performance. And it was all I could do not to laugh. They went, like you said, they went in the bathroom, swirlies, they got back in the ring, and finally, Apoc wins. Steve don't want that head being shaved. But what happens? Danny Chance and T-Ray come out of that locker room like, you ain't getting in here. That head is getting shaved. And as of right now, that was in January. We're getting ready to be a year since that match happened. That's Steve Anthony's last match. He's retired.
Yeah. Haven't heard hardly anything else from him.
But, so real quick, out of all the matches we saw this year, who would you put in the top wrestler that we saw live?
That's tough.
I know so. That's what she said, too. Because I know mine. And mine's a tie.
Yeah, I was going to say I got 2 or 3 in mind, but of course, again, I'm a Vordell fan. The way Vordell brings it, I've got to give Vordell an honor.
Mine's a tie. One of them is Vordell.
And I put it with Apoc.
Vordell and Vladimir Koloff.
I do like Vlad.
Because them two give it up every match. Not that Apoc doesn't. Apoc gives it just all every match, but that Vordell Vladimir street fight right there was one of the best street fights I've ever seen. And just a blast.
Concrete stairs, light poles. I mean, you name it. It was
my Coke. I just bought the Coke, took 2 sips and sat it down, and Vordell's got to take big old Vlad, who about 250, and throws him. I had to move my dad. That's why I didn't get my Coke. I had to shove my dad away because Dad ain't wanting to move. Thankfully, we were in rolly chairs.
Yeah.
And see, your son hauled ass. Donovan hauled ass. You hauled ass. I hauled ass, but Dad's just sitting there. I got to shove him out of the way.
But I had to make 2 trips.
That's true. That's true. Well, if you were somebody else that served us hot dogs one time, they had to make 5 trips.
But he was breathing hard after the first one.
That's what she said. But thank you for coming on, sir.
I enjoyed it. My pleasure.
And I got a question. You got the belt there. Well, now, what's your belt? Because we know this is the Lucha Libre Central American Heavyweight title of the world. Come up February 28th, 2 years of holding this belt. What you got there?
Well, before every show in Brookhaven, we go to a local place and eat. So that's the Bobo's belt.
The Bobo's Buffet Brawler belt?
Bobo's Buffet Brawler belt.
But he's got something coming up challenging the man. This guy.
This guy from Suntag really going to put up a fight.
So. He's going to come out to grab them cakes?
I want it all.
Oh, well, no, grab them cakes, man.
Cakes? Okay.
And you know what? I think I might have a name for him. The Junk Food Dog.
Junk Food Dog. I like it.
You got an extra cheeseburger?
We got an extra cheeseburger. We need to make some tights with the word thump on it.
Thump on it. That's right. Well, we out, everybody. Hope y'all enjoyed that. And most of these matches mentioned are either on this channel or on Kobe's channel, Body Slam Media Productions. So give them a watch and keep on watching wrestling.